one of the things that I have to learn, even in marriage now, is that when she's around, I don't spend too much time on my phone.
Good morning, afternoon, evening to you, wherever you're watching us from. You're welcome to another episode of LR Talks. I am Jane, and of course, I'll be your host on the show today. If you're joining us for the first time, this is the part where I say, welcome to LR Talks. It's about to be your favorite podcast. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride with me. So with me in the studio today, I have a very beautiful couple I have admired from afar for a very long time, and I am excited to have them in the studio today to talk on the topic of what your relationship should look like. I will reintroduce that topic to you, but before that, I'd like our guests to introduce themselves to us. Good day, Ma. Good day, sir.
Okay.
Please, would you introduce yourselves to the house?
All right. Well, my name is Samuel Vincent Kosoko. I'm a minister of the gospel, and I'm here with my wife. Her name is Esther Kosoko. She's also a minister of the gospel, and she's a medical doctor.
You heard that right? They are ministers of the gospel, and she's a medical doctor. So you should be ready to enjoy this show to the fullest. So our topic today is relationship goals. What should a healthy partnership look like? Single Pringles in the house, gather round. It's about to be neck pressing and oppression. Just get ready and prepare your mind ahead. So very quickly, I'd like us to get into the topic. But I would like to start with your personal views on what a healthy partner was before you even met at all. What did you have in mind? What did you think you wanted your partner to look like? So I'd like you, Matt, to answer first, because of course ladies first, and then he's going to tell us what he had in mind for a healthy partner.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Before I met him, my mindset or what I had in mind for a healthy partner was, first of all, a God-fearing man, but more personally was somebody that I could be with, that I could grow spiritually. I felt that growth, or I know that growth spiritually must be consistent, must be constant. You are not just static at a point. You must not just settle with a level of spiritual growth. So a person that I will be with, that I will still be able to expand in God, that I will still be able to grow in Christ with, that was my goal for somebody to be with.
Oh, very beautiful. I hope you are learning. God-fearing, people of God, God-fearing. So I would like to hear your view.
Well, for me, it was a lot simpler in the sense that I knew that the bulk of my life was going to be around ministry.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to be with somebody who can walk that path with me. It made my choices, it streamlined it to, because I know that if I was going to be in ministry, I would have to be with a partner who fears God and knows God and loves God as much as I do.
Yeah.
And will be willing to take that route with me. It takes a lot of commitment and dedication and sacrifice to be in ministry. So that was it for me. And basically that was that decision. I mean, knowing that just really streamlined my choices to make it
And
very
obviously they got what they wanted in it. Okay, so I'd like us to talk about how you met.
Okay.
I want viewers at home to hear how you actually met, how your relationship started, how she eventually agreed and all of that. So we'd like to hear how you met and how the journey went till
Okay,
now.
so yeah, well, we met in church.
Places to meet, church.
We met
Church
in
is a
church,
very
really.
important place.
Yeah, so we met in church, but we had known each other in church for a while, and we were both serving God, just good, excellent workers in church, and there was no thought in that direction whatsoever. And this is basically not a cliche. It is possible that somebody you eventually be with, first time you met them, you don't have any intentions to be with them. It is actually a possibility. When I first met her, she was just a woman of God. that I like. She, as a person, she was an excellent worker in church. She does her job well. She takes criticism well. She's just a wonderful church woman. One of those people you want to look up to. You want to, there are people who look up to, of course, and one of those people you're excited to see in church that
Yes.
encourages you to do more for God also as a person. That was all she was to me, just that kind of person. And at some point, I began to have or I began to have an inclination towards being in a relationship. At the time, I was not in any relationship, and I was not intending to be. I wasn't even planning it. So I eventually began to have some level of nudging and interest in it. At some point, it became a little bit overwhelming. And so what I did at that time was to begin praying. I'm not a Gen Z, so you hear some things that are kind of archaic
No
in a
problem.
sense, but it's how I was trained and how I believe. I know that things should be done.
Me.
So yeah, I started praying and spent a lot of time in prayers, basically. And she started showing up in my prayers. And when that happened, I spoke to my pastor about it. That okay, so person is showing up. Of course, when the inclination began, I spoke to my pastor about it. He said, just pray, spend time in prayers and just pray it out and let's see where that takes us. So I gave a report on what I started getting. And we went on a date. I think I took her out. But before then, we started becoming friends. Somehow, I think I spoke to her about something one time and then we became friends. She actually told me that we are going to be closer and that we'll be talking a lot. That was the initiation of our friendship. We became good friends. And
So it all started from the place of friendship.
yeah,
We're still going to talk about friendship, but I'd like you to continue your story.
we had our period of good friendship, excellent friendship. I can say excellent friendship. She was quite useful to me. I was quite useful to her. It was a very valuable relationship, friendship relationship. So yeah, but then that happened, and then we went. I told her, I want to take you out. I just want us to get to know each other a little bit closer than we already did. We went out, spoke about many things. She came to, quote and unquote, for lack of a better word, she came to gossip about something. there was something that happened that she was really interested in knowing the details because I was in the center of the whole thing. It happened around
so
me.
she came to get
So she wanted
gist.
to. So it was an opportunity for her to actually get all the details of what happened. It was a story she was really interested in. I wanted to meet her. So that evening was an evening of a lot of talking and getting to know each other and all that. And that was it. I think that was the only official date we actually went on before the relationship began. Others, we had times where we maybe go out, but it wasn't really in the proper date setting.
Yeah.
So that happened. Then, after a while, she noticed that this guy is liking me beyond the friendship thing.
Oh.
And so when she did, she called my attention to it, but she did so in parables. She said that because we are getting close, she said because we are getting close, she wants to be sure that when she's talking to me, the person she's talking to is her friend. And that was solid. If you're a guy and you hear that, this person is telling you, don't go beyond friendship. So I told her, that there are many things I probably would have said at this point, but I wanted to speak to her closest friend at that time. I wanted to speak to her, and her name is Olamide. She always like that I mention her name. Her name is Olamide. She's married now to a very close brother. We are like family. So I spoke to Olamide. I said, look, I'm interested in your friend, and this is what she said recently and all that, and I just want to hear your perspective about it. What do you think about it and about us together? And she was quite encouraging, and she told me she quite really cheered me on. Basically, that was all she did. Not like she had a conversation with her and there was an answer that was already, pre-planned. Nothing like that. She just basically told me that go for it. I mean, she's a good person and she does not have any rights to embarrass you for coming. If she's not going to say yes, she will say it in a very vulnerable way too. And so after that, we got talking again, and she asked what I was going to say. I said I was going to talk to a friend before I say what I wanted to say. Now I've spoken to a friend. What did you want to say? So that was the point where I just told her I like you and you're an amazing person. You love God. You look like somebody that I can do life with. And if you will, I would like to be with you. And for as long as you have me, I believe that should be forever. So.
Oh my God. Pick up
So.
I cannot stop smiling. This story is very interesting.
Yeah. So.
I hope you have your pen there with you. I am taking notes. Go to church. First off, go to church. Pray. Okay. We're
So
listening to you,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. So that was basically how I asked her out, and she told me at that point that what she wanted to have with me was not shouldn't be more than friendship, and that was all she could offer at the time. And I told her, fine, that's okay.
Was it that you were not ready?
I had a lot to do that year in particular.
Oh.
Yes, that year in particular in school. It was my final year in school. About to be my final year in school. We were in church.
We were just appointed ministers in church on the same day, actually.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
I just felt that I won't have
And she was
time.
also CMDA president then.
She was CMD president. Oh my
So I
God.
felt that, like, man,
Not now.
last on the list.
Alright.
So to me, it felt like it was going to be a distraction. I just felt like I needed to focus. I have this mindset towards work that just do your work. You won't be here forever. Do what you have to do.
Actually.
So that was the mindset which I was going with so much energy to do work. So I felt like, man, nah.
No, for now. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice.
It was one of the things that also stood out for me was that at the time I was talking to our pastor about her, she was also talking to our pastor about me at the exact same time. So there was no hanky panky, there was no secrets, there were no back doors. I didn't know that she was talking to my pastor. It was, well, as a minister, and basically how I've been trained, it was a token of accountability for me. So yeah, I needed to tell him this is the person I'm liking. I believe that if she was in a relationship at that time, one person that would know is my pastor. Was also one of the reasons why I spoke to her friend. This person I'm talking about is her closest friend, even up to date. So I wanted to also find out if she's in a relationship or not, if she was open for a relationship at the time and all that. So yeah, our pastor's encouragement also really helped out. Well, eventually, a few weeks after that, after asking out and getting the response of only friendship, eventually after all, she told me that what I ask might work, but I'm going to have to give her time. I already had inside information at that time because before she said that to me, my pastor had already spoken to me and he told me that it will work. We will work. But I should give her time. In fact, my pastor gave me a specific number of months. Told me I should give her about 7 months.
Oh, wow.
It didn't look long for me at that time actually, because first of all, I had my pastor's assurance. He's a man of his word. He doesn't waste his word. He's very careful what he says. Yeah. So if he came to me and he told me it is going to work, it means he has done a lot of work on it already and he was sure that this was going to work. And when he said 7 months, in my head, it didn't look so long. I mean, it was just like, to me, I'm just going to continue being your friend for the next 7 months until it becomes official. It wasn't, because I wasn't going to, I'm going to be in this forever. 7 months is quite a very short time
compared to forever.
So I was ready to stay, but it didn't take 7 months. Actually, it actually took 3 months.
You see, be ready to wait. You do not know what God can do. Within 7 months, turned 3 months. That's very nice.
And that period of 3 months was also a period where our friendship really intensified. We were a lot closer. We literally woke up speaking to each other, slept speaking to each other, more like that. So yeah, that's basically the story, I think.
Well, I really don't have much to say, because this was a wonderful story. I hope you enjoyed it too. But I'd like us to go back to where you talked about friendship
Mhm.
and the importance of friendship in every
Yeah.
healthy relationship, because we found ourselves in a generation where people can meet and in 2 weeks get married. It is everybody just wants to marry. Class of
Yeah.
2024, everybody is marrying.
Yeah.
So I'd like us to talk about how important friendship is in the place of relationship, because I believe that there should be a getting to know each other as friends, nothing attached, just that pure friendship that where you people can just talk to each other, you know, enjoy each other's company as friends before any other thing comes into it. Because I believe, like I said, that we do not have it in this generation. Many people just want to go straight into marriage, not taking the steps that matter, like friendship. So Ma, what would you have like to say about the friendship aspect in the whole relationship thing?
Thank you. Like you said, friendship is very important when it comes to starting a relationship. However, some people may not have it such a way they've known each other for a while, they are friends for a while before they now end up being in a relationship. Some people actually get to meet each other already with the mindset and intention that they are looking for a spouse. I don't know if you hear me. So the
Okay.
friendship part has to be intentional. There's someone that they are just around you and you already know them as friends, and before you know it, okay, it's one thing let's another. You are in a relationship, you are getting married. But there are people that you're actually knowing each other on that platform of, okay, I'm considering this person as a partner. Like that's how you first of all got to know this person. So that's why I say for such people, friendship has to be intentional. That I'm intentionally getting to know this person. Why? Because it's important to know who you are dealing with. You cannot just be all about wanting to spend the rest of your life with this person. You have to know the content of this person's character. Outside, how does this person behave? How does this person treat others? How does this person behave? How does this person treat his parents, his siblings, his younger ones? Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's all the things you pick up in friendship. You're just getting to know what does this person like, what's this person more inclined to doing, what's this person not, what would this person rather do, rather not to do. All those things are things that you pick up passively in friendship. It's not like, hey, you're carrying study 101 and you're learning. Do you understand?
Actually.
But if they ask you something about your friend, you will say it off the top, and that's not because you wrote it down somewhere. That's just because from interactions you have gotten to know that this is what my friend would do. They will come and tell you your friend is doing this, or your friend say, no, that's not my friend, because you just know over time that my friend won't do that. And it's important in relationship that you must get to a point where you say, he won't do this, she won't do this. So it's important that friendship is established.
happens. That's very nice. So friendship before you go into relationship, and for people that meet on the basis of I just want to get a spouse, it has to be an intentional step. So friendship has to be intentional.
Yeah, I would just like to add that yeah, friendship is important. Just like she said, people go out and people are on the lookout and they want to meet a spouse.
Yeah.
I tell guys that it is a bit awkward to approach a lady and ask her to spend the rest of her life with you, to whom you are a complete stranger. It is awkward. It's a big demand. I don't know you at all, and right now you are asking me to spend my entire life
With you.
It's kind of, it's a lot, and it is not that such a thing cannot happen. It actually can, where you are meeting somebody, and it is not entirely impossible, but it is not very common. That's just something we have to understand. It's very common. It's like maybe 1 in a 10, or maybe 1 in a 20, or even less than that. So I mean, for those kind of situations, it's possible that there is a divine purpose for that union, and they probably are not in the same place, and it's something very specific that needs to happen. We never can tell if Mary, the Virgin, if she will still be the person who gave birth to Jesus if she was not with Joseph, if she was with another man. Really
Actually.
can never tell. So sometimes, for because of some reasons, once in a blue moon, such a situation can happen where you meet somebody and you just know, a complete stranger, and you just know that this person is the person I'm supposed to be with. If I am with someone else, that is it for my life. And in that kind of situations, there is always a very, very peculiar reason for why that is happening, and God is intentional about. But however, even in that situation, when the relationship starts, what maintains or keeps a relationship going is actually the friendship.
Yes.
And for me, one of the things that I tell guys is, when you're trying to build friendship, the idea is not just being around, talking and jesting and playing, and you're just hovering around the lady every time. That's not the idea. The idea of building friendship like that is usefulness, build value. If you are valuable, that's where you find friendship, because I begin to trust you with things, and I see that you can deliver. I see that you are useful. I see that I can get results from you. And from that point is when I begin to entrust you with my privacy, with things, my private space. If you're useful to me, then I keep you around. But if you are not useful, it is not all about cruise. Everything they know you for is jokes and comedy and things like that. Everything you post is cruise, and the guys needs to learn that even if you are one of the million that a relationship begin when you meet the person, you still have to be intentional about building that friendship, even in that relationship. That friendship, knowing that you are with your friend, it is very important. You really cannot overlook it, whether before or during a relationship. It is quite important, and a simple way to do that is to be useful. I think that when we became friends, one of the things she told me earlier on is that one of the reasons why she became my friend was that at that time she was somebody that everybody hold at the highest thing, so she hardly get people to correct her. People hardly say, hey, what you did was wrong. And at that time I was just doing that. I just thought that she did something, and after everything was over, I called her and said, you did something before. I think it's better to do it this way. So she felt, if this guy can, call my attention to something like this, I should keep him around. He's somebody who will be, and that's why she wanted to be my friend. It wasn't because she liked me outside that. She just felt, this guy in my space, at least the fact that he can correct me when I do something wrong, is a good person to keep around. And that's basically how our friendship really started. So it's a matter of being useful, being a person of value. Do you understand? So that's how the friendship grows, and whether before or in the relationship, you need that to grow together.
That was very insightful. Thank you very much for that. So I don't want to waste too much time, so I'd like us to move on to work. Like you mentioned earlier, she's a medical doctor, and based on the fact that I understand that medical doctors, anything can happen at any time. She can be called to work at any time. She can be on call and all of those things. How do you think that people in a healthy relationship, can manage when both of them are not in the same field, or when one person is busier than the other person? Because for me, I grew up in a home where my dad was not usually around because of the nature of his job. So we grew fond of my mom and all of that. But still, it was still a very, very nice marriage relationship, because I don't think I've ever seen my parents fight. It's just a beautiful, thing, and it makes me wonder, how do they cope in that kind of situation? Like I said, my dad is hardly around. In fact, this year I've seen him only twice, and by August already. That's how not around he is. So how do you think that a healthy couple, can manage the whole situation of, okay, this person is very busy, and the other person is not as busy? Because I feel like it can cause fight. And somebody is saying, stop forming busy, and the other person is saying, you know what, I'm busy. And all of those things.
It's possible.
So I just want to hear your opinion of that.
Okay, so I think that you need to know the person you're with. And aside that, for me, what really works for us, and I think what would always work, is that every time you get to spend physically together, make it count. Basically, if you um I'm going to say something. One of the things that I have to learn, even in marriage now, is that when she's around, I don't spend too much time on my phone. I try to spend more time with her
With her.
than with my phone or whatever I'm using my phone for. And I think that is the major thing. You see, when we started dating, we had just few months together. In few months' time, she was out of Ogbomoso. She had finished in Bowen. She was out back to Ibadan. I was in Ogbomoso, and we were basically on a distant relationship for about 3 years. Yeah, our courtship was basically a distant thing. We spent a lot of time talking over the phone, video calls, voice calls, texting. If my phone, there was a time that people around me knows that if my phone rings by 7:30, 8 p.m., she's the one calling. It's just nobody else ever tries to call me around that time, and I said it's kind of important. You just know that I'll be on, and we could be talking till like 10 p.m. You wonder what we are saying. Sometimes we don't even have much to say. We are just on the line. She's doing something, I'm doing something, and we are just on the line. And they say, "Hello, baby, are you there? I'm here. Okay, I just want to check on you." And we continue. The idea that, oh, okay, this person is here with me, maybe not physically, but the person is here with me. All those things count. But beyond all that, I think that what could make that management work mostly is that whenever you have the opportunity to be with the person, you make it count, make it count, make it worth the time. Don't spend that time on something, especially with something that you can do another time. You want to respond to a chat, you can do that another time. You want to check something up, you can do that another time. You want to download a picture, you can do that another time. That time that you are together, make it count. When we got married, I was working in Oyo. She was back in Ogbomoso because I stayed in Ogbomoso, but I work from Oyo. So I'll travel the beginning of the week and I'll come back. I was basically a weekend husband, and it was worse on weekends when she's on call.
Ouch.
So,
so you wouldn't get to spend.
That lasted for me, for work, it lasted for a whole year. For our marriage, it lasted for about 5 months, thereabouts. First 5 months of our wedding, of our marriage, it was a distant relationship kind of continuation. There was even a time where I traveled for about 2 weeks because for work we had to do some expansion work, and so I have to travel out of field. You have to go to other states to do some work, and you'll be there for weeks. So all that, accumulated together to maybe strengthen our communication, even though we were not in the same space. But really, it's something that is important. Somebody is busy, I understand her work, I know her job. You can tell the difference in when she's present and when she's not. Just while we're coming here, she has been on call since Saturday. She went to work on Saturday. She has been there till now. It was this evening that we're just getting to see. Today's Monday. And she was telling me that it feels like I've been away for a week. I told her it feels like a month.
Oh my God.
That basically happens. If you are both busy, or if your work schedule is not the exact same thing, where maybe you do a 9 to 5, or somebody is permanently at home because person works from home, and you come home to meet the person, or both of you work from home or something like that. If that is not the case, you basically have to understand what we are doing here. I'm with somebody who goes to work and may not come back until the next day, and I have to get used to that. So devise other means to ensure that you bridge the gap of absence, between each other. And well, thank God for technology and for
actually with call and
that constant communication works. Talk to the person about your work, about people in your life, what happened. Sometimes it's just random gist. It's nothing important, really. But those are the things that makes for our process, and you never can tell how much those things go in helping you to know your partner better also, because you hear about what they did, how they responded to somebody, and all that culminates into your holistic knowledge of who you are with what the person is capable of, what the person can do, what the person cannot do.
Mm.
So yeah, that communication and making use of that time.
Time, being intentional about communicating and making
Yeah.
every minute count.
Yeah.
That's what you just said
Mhm.
about the fact that, it looks like both of you are very busy people.
Yeah.
And, eventually there is the part of raising kids and all of that.
Mhm.
So in a situation where both of you are busy people, for example, my uncle and his wife are both doctors. So anything can happen at any time. And, sometimes, even though they are fine, their children get to see them very often. They try to make out time to spend with their kids and all of that. I still feel like it's very it's a very, very, very delicate matter. And raising children is very important because, of course, train up your child in the way you should go, and when he's old, you will not depart from it. But if you do not have time, you will not be able to train your children in the right way.
Yeah.
So what is your opinion on raising kids and all of that, and making sure that your children are on the right path, despite the fact that you are a busy person? So I'd like you to give us an answer to that, ma'am.
Okay, as a rider to what you also said regarding communication, I think that one of the things that is also very important is understanding. When both parties understand what we are not children, we are adults, do you understand? When both parties understand what we are doing, we understand the situation, we are where we are now. I'm not going to change my profession overnight. It's not going to quit the job tomorrow. Not saying that, but we have that understanding. But despite that, we know that it is this marriage above anything else. Is this marriage above medicine? Is this marriage above your job? Is this marriage? Is raising children above medicine? Do you understand?
Yeah.
It depends. Because we are Christians, I believe that we are. So we focus on eternal things. Which one will the Lord ask you in judgment day? Which one will He ask? Will He ask you about your profession? Will He ask you about will He ask you how much money you have made? Do you understand? He's going to ask you eternal things. What did you do? I've sent you to this world to do something. How was your marriage? Do you understand? Those are the things that matter to God. The children He has sent to you to raise. How have you done in that? He will hold you accountable for the children He has sent to you, children He has given you to raise. So once both of us, man and wife, have that mentality, have that mindset that it is what God places priority on, that we place priority on.
Yeah.
It's easy to deal with things. It's easy to work. It's every day once the priority is set on the right place, it's easy. If one person is busy, for example, if you have two of them that are doctors, I bet they will ensure that both of them are not on call at the same time. Do you understand? They know what is important. Like they will try and juggle it. And even if it is, they will have support systems, whether it's their mother, their grandmother that is around, or their grandfather, or an auntie that is present. But you must find a way, because there is a way. You must find. That's why I say understanding is the first thing. Both of us understand that this marriage is more important than money. Both of us understand that raising children and raising godly seed is more important than your career. It's more important than any height you will ever get. So it sets you, it resets your brain. Do you understand? So every choice we are making, whether to take this thing, whether not to take this thing, whether to do this, it directs your life, basically. So I think a deep understanding help you in balancing such things.
When both parties are very busy people, are raising kids and all.
It's basically just like she said. For me, one of the things one of the conversations we've had before, we don't have any child yet. Of course, we plan on having kids, but one of the things that I told her before was that, for instance, I don't want my children going to summer lessons after vacation. I don't want them going to summer lessons. She was like, because I felt like I don't spend a lot of time with my child or my children while they are in school. So this period of 1 month when they are going to be on vacation or something, or 2 months or 3 months, whether it's a long break or a short one, I want them to spend the entirety of it with me. And she was like, you work, I work. I said, look, when that time comes, we'll find a way to balance it. But the point is that I think that a lot of intentionality should be put in raising children. um, let's just really trust God to bless us and give us all that we need to raise our children right.
Yeah.
Because if you put your work over your children, you put your career over your children, you put business over your children and things like that, you are really in a terrible place. I mean, think about it. Look at our society and just imagine that because the truth is everybody in a society came from a family.
Yes.
Now think about it, that everyone in a society came from a good family where they were thoroughly raised in the way of the Lord. That thought alone makes you see how sane, how healthy our society will be, because family is the unit is the fundamental unit of the societies. And if families are messed up, it is why there's a lot of attack on family system, especially on the man. And we don't know, we don't get to see or point these things out very much in talks. There are feminists, we don't have masculinists or malinist or whatever,
Oh my God.
and things like that. There is a lot of attack in that direction. The family system, the family structure, there's a lot of attack to it. We have people who are seemingly vagabond and who maybe even hold positions of authority, powerful positions, and our society suffers from it. Everybody else gets to suffer from what a man and a woman did not do right. Yeah, and raising their children well. So for me, raising your kid correctly, raising them well is very. She was even saying that, look, if I'm not a doctor, my children will do homeschool. I will sit, because we look at the educational system, you look at the things that is being taught, how people are being trained, the system that is really established, and you realize that this thing is too outdated for it to still be what we celebrate now. So she was saying, look, if I'm not working as a doctor, I will sit with my children, I'll teach them from home. I told her once that if I notice that what my child wants to, train in, the career path he or she wants to take, is something they can learn from home without having to go to any university, my dear, let them sit at home. I'm telling you, because we get, at the end of the day, it is how much you can deliver on these things that matters, not necessarily whether you have a certificate. The world is evolving so fast in that direction that it's not a matter of certificate or no certificate. It's a function of what you can do, what you really can do. So raising your children, making sure that they are well trained in the way of the Lord is important. The Bible is clear about it. If you train them in the way of the Lord, they will not depart. That's what the Bible says. It is such a very certain, clear statement. It's not a conditional sentence. Train up your child in the way that he should go. When he grows up, he will not. It is just, it's very certain. If a lot of people do a lot of things they call training, but it's really not training based on God's standards. So if you do it in the way of the Lord, he will not. He can try to want to check outside, but he will come back. He will not. That's what the Bible says. We had better take the Bible's word for it and do the right thing in that direction, basically. So it's very important for me.
So it's very important that parents, put all the efforts they can and time they can into training people. I honestly think that a lot of parents have failed in the face of, training their children and all. I think there was a time that my daddy and I used to fight a lot because it felt like I just wanted to do. But there are times that, they grow to a certain age where they feel like, I think I should be able to make certain decisions by myself right now. You shouldn't be making so many decisions for me. And, they want to take their own path and all of that. I've fought my daddy a lot on that. But then, like you said, training them in God's way is very important. So parents are supposed to be very intentional about, training their children in the way of the Lord, because it is certain that even if they want to peep at what is outside, they will still come back to that way that you've actually taught them. And I think that is a very important thing in every healthy relationship. So the next thing I'd like us to talk about, after, the whole raising kids thing, is the financial aspect of relationship. Now, I'll first start from relationships that are not marriages yet. Then to marriage. So for the relationships that are not married yet, that are just, they're just in the season of courtship and friendship and all of those things. Finances. Because we found ourselves in a generation where, let me say that people feel entitled to the other person's money and to whatever the other person owns. My money is my money, your money is our money, all of that drama. And it scares me because if you are dependent on a man, especially for the ladies, you're dependent on a man before you get married to him. What happens when you both get married? You become a liability to him. There's nothing you have to bring to the table. There is nothing you have, and it makes I feel like it makes marriages rough because the man feels pressured to. I was reading statistics, and according to Forbes, on 30th of May this year, about 2 million, well over 2 million people get married in the United States, and annually, a good portion, I think, over 500,000 of those marriages actually do not work out due to financial reasons, because of someone's finance, and I think sometimes it is inevitable that some of these financial issues would come up. But I'd still like us to talk about they are not yet married part before we now go into they are already married part. So how do you think that young people, you are still single, you should be adding value to yourself, not be dependent on someone else? So I just want to hear your opinion on that financial aspect, Ma.
Okay. Before marriage, in understanding, in communication, know how your spouse is financially.
Yeah.
Know how this person a spender? Is this person a saver? How does this person deal with his finances? How does she deal with her finances? Is she okay? Is she stable? How is she personally? The truth is that before marriage, the man, if you're marrying a good Christian guy, or you're marrying a good Christian lady, they know that they should buy gifts, because you show love by giving.
Yes.
Do you understand? It's one of the ways where you can show. If you want to give, it's just natural. Like, it's not something that they even write in the book, oh, you love your spouse, so buy gifts for yourself. It's something that will just call you. You just always want to give something to your spouse. But the person is not obligated. Like, it's not that, oh, what I want now is what do we call our hair? Bone straight. Thank you very much. So it's not like this. I want bone straight. It's my birthday. I want bone straight. If he does not do it, he's not a responsible man, or he's not somebody I can. Or it's my birthday and the man is demanding something that is not. Naturally, a woman would want to give. Naturally, a man would want to give to somebody that he or she loves. Do you understand? Yeah. So when it's before, it's one of the things you check for. See, that courtship is a time to shine your eyes. That's the word. Courtship period is a time. Yes, it's a time to open your eyes, see how this person. I've had relationships, I've had stories whereby the man had to be taught to give. You have to teach it. It's not like sometimes they have to be taught, and once they are taught, she likes it when you are just buying, not just birthday. Some people have already planned it: birthday, Christmas, Valentine, anniversary. Like, that's all. He doesn't understand why he should be buying you gifts unnecessarily, just be throwing things at you. But that's what she likes, and he was taught, and the marriage is doing well. Like, marriage is like, there should be 4 years now. Doing very well because the man was taught. Do you understand? So these are the things that she already observed from courtship. So observe, how is my spouse like financially? Is this person a giver? Does this person not know that he should give? Let's assess our state, like, and be very critical, not allowing love to blind you. Be very critical on how this person is financially. So that will help you. And the part of being dependent, a woman being dependent on a man, or a man being most usually is always the woman saying that yes, is my money is my money, your money is our money. Well, ideally, the money belongs to all the money, man making man's money, woman's money is for all of them. And that's why in scripture when you say they shall become one flesh, they shall become one flesh, it shows the union. There is oneness in marriage. It can't be separated. The Lord has referred to them as one. Do you understand? In as much as they have individual assignments, they have God-given assignments individually that they will do, and they will answer in the judgment seat of God. You will answer individually. But yes, God sees them as one body, one flesh. So it's important that they also see themselves that way, especially financially. There's no this one is my own, this one. Our money is together. It can be in my account. In fact, like it's so together that we don't even need a joint account. Like our money is so we don't need a joint account. Like it can be with my card. He knows what's in my account. I know what's in his account. Like is that like we don't is that there is that oneness even financially.
On that, I heard something some time ago that when you get married as a couple, there are 5 accounts that you should have. I don't know, but you have your own personal accounts. Then both of you are supposed to have savings accounts, like individual savings accounts. Then there should be like a joint account. So in the joint account, everything, house bills, school fees, rent, all of those things, a percentage of your own income is going into the joint account, a percentage of the other person's income is going into the account, and then we settle whatever bills we have to settle in the house. But we still have, I still have my emergency savings in case I just feel like. And I feel, although I don't think it's totally wrong in the sense that you might want to do something for your spouse from you. And if you are like running a joint account thing, I'm still going to talk about it because
I really think that those things are formulas for people who are, for a lack of a better word, who are disobedient. Because this is talking about this, because this idea now is in a marital context. You're already married. The idea of marriage is straightforward, it's simple. The man leads, the woman follow. Our finance, it is basically the way it is for everything. It is why the woman should not marry somebody who is not smart financially. So that you can be sure that he can lead me when it comes to our finance. Do you understand? So when you now begin to say, have your personal savings account, she buys me gifts a lot. It was my birthday this month, 7th of this month, and she got me a gift. And I didn't have to ask, where did you get that money from, or this and that. I buy her things too, but yet we still have our money together. I think that understanding how these things works really makes things a lot simpler. It's simple. You earn, I earn, but our money is together. You lead in how we spend this money. It is so together that if she needs to spend money, she tells me, I want to spend money on so thing. Sometimes she doesn't even tell me. And then I think this thing really, it boils down to knowing what is right and knowing what is wrong and understanding each other. There are times when she has to spend money and there's no time to tell me. Maybe she wants to give somebody money, she wants to do something. And judging by my character, she knows that my spouse will not say no to this. And she can just go ahead and do it. And then later tell me, oh, I took so amount of money to do so thing, to buy so thing for somebody, this was one, and it's fine. See, these things are, if both of you love God, and it begins from seeing it financially, seeing it that money, I am a steward of whatever God has given me, whatever resources I have, whatever money I have, I'm a steward of it. It's not necessarily mine. Part of it meets my need, really, but at the end of the day, I am a steward of these things, and I need to know how to spend it properly. We need to know what money should go into, what money should not go into. And when you have that cleared out, okay, you can really just work with. If you are with somebody who knows God and obeys God, a lot of things becomes very easy and simple and straightforward. You don't need this formula. Have this.
I've heard stories. That joint account thing. It's a lot. I've heard stories of, they run a joint account, they just felt
It's
like
not a
it
bad
was not
idea if you
working,
ask me.
the marriage was no longer working or something, and somebody, goes and
And clear out the
clears the
account and all
account
that.
That
and all of those things.
The idea of a joint account is not a bad idea for me, generally. But sometimes you really do not maybe need it.
Need it.
If we decide I want to open a joint account, let's assume that maybe we have a project ahead of us and want to say, okay, let's open an account where we both keep some money in to face this project or to spend on this particular project. We both keep some money in for a particular period of time. That's fine. The money we are keeping in that account is still our money at the end of the day.
Yes.
So if we needed to keep money somewhere for something, maybe one of my accounts will just work, or one of hers will just work. Because it's not as the idea is not like she has her money and I have my money, and so you have yours, I have mine. I'll tell you a story. I was listening to a woman of God spoke one time, and she said that, at some point she was not working. Her husband was the only one feeding the family, taking care of the entire financial burden of the family. He was working. Then eventually she got a job. It was a good job, and she was paid. It was really a good job because I think the first 2 months salary that she got, she said she wants to buy herself a car. So it was really a good job to be able to do that. So she told the husband, I want to buy myself a car. So the husband was like, okay, you want to buy yourself a car? She said yes. So the husband was like, from which money? She was like, from my money, of course. My hard-earned money. I worked, earned my salary, and I want to buy myself a car. And then, so the husband said, from your money? She said yes. And she was like, yeah, my money, my hard-earned money, I work. What was the man? So she didn't get the idea. So what the man did was just tell her that, okay, it's fine. It can either be your money or our money. And at that point, she got the gist that, oh, okay. And in fact, what even broke her was that she thought about it. She said, this man makes more money than I do. It is better for me to say our money than for me to say my money, So, but generally, I think that it boils down to really being willing to follow God and that cohesion, that oneness in relationships. And many people may have trust issues, reasons why they would prefer to have their things.
Yes.
And maybe because of what their uncle have experienced, somebody in their family, somebody close to them, their friend's auntie, and things like that, where somebody gets to lose out because they put things together with someone another, and all that could cause the issue. But well, I don't know. The best way that it works is that it works with God. If God is in the center of it, and everybody loves God and knows God and follow God, it's easier. You don't have all those suspicions. Then about when you are not dating yet, I think that it is clear. Everybody have their things. You have your money, I have my money. But like she said earlier on, love makes you spend your money on the other person. And the trust that you have built creates that platform for accountability for both of you. You can even help your partner manage her expenses or her finances if they're not doing well in that direction. But generally, it's not like somebody you own, quote unquote, the other person. You are not necessarily entitled to the other person's resources, but that relationship provides a space, an opportunity for you to be able to spend on the other person. If you love me, you spend on me. It's basically how it is. The woman also spends on the man. Oh, I get him. You saw something you like on him, you buy it for him. It's as simple as that. The same way.
So it goes both ways.
It goes both ways. Yeah.
Very interesting. So finally, before we go, there's one more thing I'd like us to talk about, and that's like the aspect of parents wanting to be involved, especially in the marriage thing. Your the Bible says that the man will leave his mother and his father and cling to his wife. But I'll start with the fact that some men are mommy's boys, and once anything happens in the house, mommy is the first to hear about it. And some wives are not comfortable with it. And some people have grown up with the mentality that if he's not like my dad, it can't work out. And again, some parents really, really want to be involved in the marriage. They don't. Some parents don't permit their children to actually enjoy that, union. They're still making decisions. They're still wanting to be present and all at that time. So I'd just like to hear your opinion on that before we, call it a wrap.
Okay, to start, understanding that the marriage is a prototype of Christ and the church makes the man and the woman understand that it is my spouse above everyone else. It's my spouse above my mother. It's my spouse above my father. The truth of the matter is that if there is a mommy's boy, or a girl that is all about her parents' opinion, she has brought her parents' marriage into her own marriage. Even things are not working in her parents' marriage, instead of her to see it and build on it, she's just bringing it straight into her marriage. She's not saying that. It's because she has not yet learned to prioritize her man. The man too has not yet learned to prioritize my woman. My woman does not, she's the woman. I don't need to run things by my mother. I'm running things by her. She's the most important person in my life right now. That's what the marriage setting offers. So you still see a lot of people still attached to their roots. Why? Because they are not yet attached or right to themselves. And if you understand, if you have Christian believers, husband and wife, that have understood this, it's easier to work on. It's not something that, it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not something that will disappear overnight. But understanding that this is who I am, I tend to want my mother's approval on what I do. I tend to want my father's approval on these things. My wife doesn't like it, and it's not even right. So I'm working towards changing it. That's what I was saying the other time. It's one thing to know that, it's one thing to have a problem. It's another thing to know that this is a problem and I want to work on it. I want to change it. So once there is understanding on the fact that these things, because it's wrong. There's no teaching or preaching about it. It's not right. It's what both of you want in the relationship that should come first. Not what their place is to provide guidance. Nobody's asking us to throw away the opinions of our parents and not to regard what they say. They are to provide guidance. They have lived longer than we have lived. They would have experiences. They will have ways that they have handled things. But their marriage is not your prototype. Their marriage is not your standard. Their marriage is not you do have good things. Even personally, I look at my parents' marriage. There are things I want to imitate. There are things I want to bring into my marriage. But there are things that I don't want to bring into my marriage from my parents' marriage. You understand? Yes. But there are excellent examples of a good marriage, a very good example. But you understand? So that's how it is. You pick the things, and the marriage is Christ and the church. Christ and the church. That's your prototype. That's the person. So anybody that mirrors that, anything that does not mirror Christ and the church, you let go of it.
So do you have anything to add?
Yeah, it's basically just as you said. It is you and your spouse against every other person, against the world, and your prototype is Christ and the church. Jesus will give himself for the church, the same way the church will for Jesus. So that's basically it.
I really, really wish we could continue with this session, but this is where we call it a wrap. I really hope you did enjoy this session and you learned one or two things to take home. If you have not subscribed, please click the subscribe button, like this video, drop a comment, and don't forget to share. I'll see you on the next episode of LR Talks. I remain your host, Jade. Bye.
Bye, everyone.